apologise for the poor quality of this. Today is just a little talk on why
Shut up.
Bigfoot is covered up. Really, I watched a 1960s movie with Charlton Heston, and in that movie, the apes had taken over the world. Now, it's just my opinion. It could be that penny for your force, but could be that the government of America might not want Bigfoot to become the dominant force on Earth. Because as we know, America likes to think itself dominant of itself. But imagine a world where Bigfoot's an intelligent ape, an intelligent primate, similar to man, was able to ride horses, and if these things can use weapons, these things can throw rocks, then what's to stop them from taking over the White House? And it's these things which I think has made former members and presidents of America keep Bigfoot rather hidden. Unlike deer and bears and elk, which are no cranial threat to mankind. But the Bigfoot is, as we've seen, is far more intelligent, and especially America fears, or did fear, in previous years, in the 1960s and so on, it could have feared a threat from such intelligence. So, that's just an opinion, but your thoughts on that. So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about these Bigfoots that have been living in caves. Now, unlike other programs and channels, I won't authenticate my stories. Because I'm not saying Bigfoot's real or not. I'm not saying these stories are true or false. These stories of mine are just for pure entertainment. And as you can tell, today I've got a bit of a strange voice. I woke up in the morning and my voice came out like this, rather strange. A Mandela effect in its own right. I woke up in the morning with this accent, so here we go. Just like to say that I haven't been particularly well. I'm always healthy, you see. I'm generally always healthy, but someone came into my house and he must have brought a disease. One of the tenants, and he must have brought it. And then I wasn't particularly well, and I tried to put vinegar up my nose, and I changed my diet to just vegetables and other things. And you know, when you're not perfectly well, everything tastes like rubbish because of the disease. And you know, when you rinse your mouth out or your nose out with vinegar when you're not well, it just cuts and kills all that disease. Well, I tried everything. I tried a vegetable diet, I tried herbs, I tried all kinds of things. And I decided to fast. This is the third day I'm going without food. Yes, I've been Friday, Saturday and Sunday with no food whatsoever. I'm very fat, by the way. I was very, plump. Anyway, I'm free, I'm in the woods here. God. But I've decided to fast for health. So this will be my third day with no food. I do take liquids, Zaid, and nothing else. Well, tell a lie. A bit of Vimto as well. But I'm gonna record how many days I can go without food, because I'll tell you what, this is my third day with no food, and I feel perfectly healthy. In fact, I've got more energy than I had before, because my body's beginning to live off its own fat reserves, because you really don't starve. It's a misconception those people who fast starve. They don't. If you look at lions in Africa, they'll go a week with no food. If you look at the stories of Bigfoot in Africa, because I do know quite a lot of African people, and according to them, there is a Bigfoot in Africa. And it's quite common to some of the more native tribes. And it's a friendly Bigfoot. They call Bigfoot their friend. I'll have to get the exact name they use. But anyway, they say that Bigfoot, he likes to go without food as well, because it's good for the body. Not only that, I'd like to tell you a nice story in Africa today about an African family of Sasquatch. So our story begins in Africa. Oh, shit. Right, here we are, in deepest sunny Africa. It was a glorious day. The sun had been warming up and parching the land of Africa. But it had fallen 2 nights ago with very heavy rain. The type of rain which you usually see fall in Spain. That's how heavy it rained here in Africa, which it does rain a lot in Africa. A lot of these people will lead you to believe that you have to give a lot of water and things to Africa, but Africa is actually full of. If you look at the water maps of Africa, Africa's got rivers. Everywhere in Africa there's rivers. So there's plenty of water in Africa. That's a misconception, and that's just my opinion. I won't say that's a fact, but in my opinion, there's water there. I know there are places in Africa that there's plenty of water. Anyway, in this particular place, there was water. It rained heavy, and the dry, parched, cracked land, just real cracky land, where there's like deep cracks, like inches wide, deep into the earth. Bit like, cracked tiling, it's just cracked on the very earth. Well, it rained so hard 2 nights ago, and it was a very dark night, and it rained, and there was thunder and lightning, and it rained heavily on the elephants and on the gazelles. It rained on everything, but it was a much needed rain. Well, it was a much welcomed rain, and from the dead earth and the very, very dry, cracked, barren land, after the water had touched it, it all came to life, and it all turned green, and from that red, dead, orangey deadness to life, the green life, and, out of those cracks turned to mud, and as the water piled up millimetre by millimetre higher and higher, well, little fish eggs hidden in the most driest places, they spawned into fish, and it carried on raining, and then where there's nooks and crannies, they turned into rivers, and it carried on raining, and more precipitations of water laden down from the heavens onto the plains of Africa, and it was good. And all that night, the lions were getting absolutely wet out, let me tell you. So was my lovely girlfriend, and I can tell you, she was very, very safe with me, because we actually have, looking after us, a nice tribe of dark, lovely, friendly Africans. They work for us, they work for me, And though I'm new to this YouTube thingy-majig and all this jiggamy stuff, I spend quite a lot of time in the woods and in the outback and talking to other peoples. Because you must really talk to other people, even if you don't know their language. You talk with face expressions. You talk with a smile. It's always good to travel. That's why I'm so thankful that I'm free and let off. And anyway, there was all these lotus bushes and whatever they're called, and everything was just coming green. And in the morning time, I remember that night, and it was just absolutely showering it down so heavily, like so heavy, constantly for hours. It was just raining, and we were in this with my wife. I was in this massive wooden luxury house in Africa, surrounded by these tents with the people, Sherpas working for me, looking after us. And me and my wife were in this four-poster bed, and we had a wonderful mosquito net all the way around it to keep the mosquitoes off. And there was all these little frogs croaking. And because, when it rains so hard, there's two types of animals. The animals either rejoice, unless the lions, they don't like the water. But I was terribly didn't want to meet a lion. That's why I had my doubts going to Africa. But nevertheless, it was well worth the trip. So, in the night there was all these bumps and strange noises. We were told they were like deer things and just vegetarians. Just like on that Jurassic Park movie. Is it a vegetarian? When that girl asked that question, that's what I always ask. When I always go out with the in safari with with my troops, and with the hunter. I've got a nice hunter called Henry. He comes out with me. He's got a nice, cowboy hat and these little things that hang off it, these corks to waft away the flies. That's what they're for. He's got a very powerful rifle, and he's a hell of a shot. He once shot a can, well over 100 feet away. He shot it first time, an old rusty red tin can, and I was there and I saw it, so I trust Henry to look after us. And anyway, this night, 2 nights ago, it was really downpouring. The next day, when we woke up, and we stretched and we got up, and after our ablutions and prayers and whatever, in which the maid came in and helped us change into my formal attire, I realised that the entire landscape of Africa where we had been staying had changed suddenly overnight. It was much more lush, and there was all new green growth and grasses. The grass had seemingly grown inches overnight. Just like something else. And let me tell you, we had a nice breakfast. What did we have? We had fresh bread. They have their own African bread. It's not like English bread. It's totally different, made from totally different things. It's an African bread. One thing that the Africans they told me, a lot of the locals, was that some of the governments of Africa may be a little bit corrupt, because actually where the animals are staying, there's plenty of fresh water, deep rivers, and plenty of fresh drinking water. But for some reason, they've made that area. This is not my opinion, this is not according to facts, but this is what I've been told. I can't verify it, but I haven't verified it. I suppose you could. But they say where the fresh water is, the most of it and all that stuff, a lot of it is game reserves or protected land for animals. Therefore, some of the people are prevented from farming that land and using that land and using that water to irrigate their crops and to drink and so on and so forth, because the government has decided that that land and that water is only for animals, not for people, not for the African people to use. No, that water's not for the African people to use. That land is not for the African people to farm, because that's a nature reserve. It's only for the animals. Only the animals can have that water. Only the animals can have that land. And a lot of people will be saying that they would have millions of more vegetables and things, and everyone would have too much clean water if they were just allowed to share the land that the animals use. Because there's a lot of land. And that's possibly because the government might be a little bit corrupt. Government letting the animals use the water and land, but not necessarily all the people. And anyway, we had got out in the Jeep very early, and Henry, my main man, my bodyguard, he had taken me and Dill, my friend Dill, on a nice safari. He just took us round after that, and everything had just become so green and lush. And we was in our Jeep, a nice white Jeep. And of course, he'd done an inspection on the Jeep. He always gives us a thorough going over, a good look over before we use it. And we always have a second Jeep following us, just in case we get into a pothole or we need towing or whatever. We never travel. That's another tip. Never ever travel with just one car or Jeep. Always go in pairs, safety. And this is what we do. And then he took me to this, what was a tiny river. It'd become a massive river, and you should have seen it. As we drove up to it very slowly, we drove up to it, creeping our car forward. It was like another scene from Jurassic Park. Do you know where they see the long-necked dinosaurs and they say, "Oh my God, is that the Cretaceous leaf?" Oh my God. Anyway, we pulled up, and I was down looking at a buck, and Dill, my friend, he picked my chin up with his finger, and he just pointed my chin up, and there I could see, just 200 meters from us, all these elephants frolicking in deep, deep water, really deep water, water deep as their backsides. And some of these elephants were massive, mastodon ones, and there was a bit shallower area for the younger elephants, and with the flappy ears, and their ears are very important for balance, or I don't know, but the ears are very, very important on elephants. They've all got little bit different ears, and I just saw these elephants. It was just marvelous, and I saw these little antler things around the water drinking. And it was free from crocodiles, and it was just a safe, lovely place. And it just felt so good and serene. Because you really do feel good when there's no predators there. When there's no predators there, you just feel so good about yourself, so serene. It's just wonderful. I never feel too safe around predators. A lot of the African people, they said to me, this is not my opinion, but they said they should be allowed to kill the predator animals and leave the vegetarian ones alive. Because that would make the society for African people much more safe, like a garden of almost Eden or something. But I don't know why there's these charities and people saying save the save the killer animals. Why don't we just save the good animals? You know, I don't know. The elephants were lapping it up, drinking it, spraying it all over themselves, really loving it, really loving it. And in the jeep behind us was my sister, and I could hear her saying to her husband, "You tedious little man! We've come here all this way. At least enjoy yourself." Yes, my sister, she's a strong one. Very healthy. Very, very handsome. God takes care of her. Well, anyway, Henry had got out the car. We could actually get quite close to these elephants. And there was so many other bloody animals, vegetarian ones, coming out of the bushes just to go to this massive, this water hole. It was massive water. And these big cow things were coming out, African style ones, not English cows, totally different, and then there was a tree line, and we'd studied the mud footprints, all bloody different animals, all little hooves and little tiny bird footprints here, there and everywhere. And then one thing that stood out to Henry, which I missed, was a bloody big footprint. And he had got out of the jeep, and he had a stick, and he was touching it and marking it and measuring this footprint. And he said, "Yes, sir. May I show you this?" So I said, "Yes, Henry. Show me if it's safe to do so." He said, "Yes, sir. What do you reckon to this?" And bloody hell, let me tell you, it was a bloody footprint. Like a person's footprint. About twice the length of a normal footprint. And then we said, "Where's the next?" I said to him, "Henry, where is the next footprint?" So he went and found it. And there was so many other footprints around there, like tons of footprints of all different animals. And whatever it was, it was big. And I thought, oh God, is it a giant? What is it? Of course, something told me I know what this is. But you know what? We had safety, we had ammunition, we had everything. We even had elephants to look after us. "Oh, sir, would you look at that?" said Emery. He said, "Look at that distance, that's about 6 foot in between the next footprint, taking a 6-foot stride through the bloody mud. And these things were deep footprints, so it was a heavy bugger." So I thought, "God blimey, crikey." I said, "Henry, do you want to do me a favour?" He said, "For you, sir? Anything." I said, "Not that, Henry." I said, "Track this animal down for me now. I'm excited, Henry. We're gonna find this animal. Oh, one more thing, Henry. Sneak up on it." He said to me, "Yes, sir. I will do a very, very good job for you, sir." So, now, there was bushes and trees, but our jeeps could get in between them. So, we decided to go in the jeep and track this thing. I didn't really have to pay attention, it wasn't my job, it was Henry's job to track it. I just had to smile like a dog with his head out the window, napping in the fresh, cool air. Before it got too hot. And then and then, we were going through the bushes very slowly. Every footstep he was marking, he was making a record of it in his little book with his little pencil. Right, and he put his pencil down, he put his hat on the dashboard, and of course, he was cocking a gun. And he's in the same Jeep as me, this Henry, because I keep him in my Jeep. My sister's in the Jeep behind us, and she's just wittering on like a wally. Bloody God taking care of all my sisters, Thank God we're in the woods, and, we hear this little rustle. I think, oh, shh, what the hell's this little rustle? And a little Bambi creature comes out, and I think, it's only a little Bambi. And then he pulls up. He gives a command with his hand to pause. He gets out and has a look. So here we are. The Jeep's pulled up, and we're away from the watering hole now. It's behind us, and we're getting into a bit thicker woods. But still, there's passageways for the cars to easily drive through these woods. There's a lot of acacia trees and various trees. I don't know the names of these trees, but that's not my job. So he gets out, and he sees another footprint. And he touches it, and he puts his finger in it. I'm watching him do it. Must have stuck almost half an inch of his finger into his footprint. So, something big. And I'm getting a bit worried. So I'm saying, Henry, is this a good idea? Henry, will we be safe? And he's not paying much attention. He's like gone into a focused trance, like a trance with his eyes, looking at this footprint in the ground. Big. It's about twice the size of your feet. And unless you're a basketball player. And it was big. Even then, it's big. So he looked at me slowly. He turned his head towards me and he said, "Sir, this thing ain't gonna hurt you. We're gonna find it, sir. I'm determined to find it." So he found out which direction he was changing his footprints. And I didn't like being in such thick woods. Though the trees were quite sparsely planted, but not too sparse, you see. There was bits of bushes here and there. And the Jeep behind us didn't know what we were up to or what we were tracking. There could be anything in there, even a bloody lion. It could be a jaguar in a tree. So I keep a gun on me. And then all of a suddenly, we hear this bloody rustling around, like breaking little twigs and something on the berry bushes. And then we see this thing, bloody orange thing, like a bloody settee, crouched down, like a shaggy settee. Orange thing, furry hair all over it, whatever. Don't know what it is from behind. Some wise guy, can't believe this, puts the bloody headlights on, shines a light on it, daytime, it's because we're going very, 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 very slowly, like less than 1 mile an hour in the car, tracking this thing. It stands up, this thing, on 2 legs, looks at us, and just belts it. Just gets out of there. Jumping away like an ape. Like doing that sidestep thing. With arms, long, really long arms covered in auburn, orangey hair. Swaying with massively long arm bones. Swaying. And it's just like, do you know when you in football or sidestep? It was kind of sidestepping away. And we thought, yes! Got this thing, yeah? It's a monkey. Like an orangutan thing. Let's get it. It was over 6 foot tall, it was big. You know, well, it was bigger than 6 foot. I'm 6 foot, it was bigger than me. Right, it was really wide. Just covered in this orangey hair. And it just reminded me of a big orangutan. And I had no fear, because it was running. It was scarpering away. So I thought, right. Right, get on it. It was bloody getting away. So yes, we can't get rid of it. We're gonna get this thing. We're in cars, we're in jeeps, we're gonna get it. So we're catching up to it, and it's bloody jumping away. His arms massive, longer than my arms, bloody swinging. It's a big monkey, like from the Jungle Book or something. It's just that thing, just looks like that thing from Jungle Book. That orange one. Big monkey. Looks like like orangutan. Big. And its eyes were like dark when it looked at us, and it just jet off. And we were putting it down. We were putting 20, 30 miles an hour down. We were slicing and skidding through little corners. It was like a rally. It was like a Colin McRae rally through the bloody outback. Round trees, bits of stumps. Bloody car came on, went over some branches on the ground. Bang! We got over that. Jeep behind us watched us hit these branches. It swerved to miss them. We're still seeing this thing. We're catching up to the bloody thing. Right? We've got it. We can shoot this thing. And you know what? I didn't want to shoot it. So I shouted out to it, "Oi! It's alright. It's alright. Stop running." Thinking it could understand English. And that's what happened. So then it got a bit too much bushes and that, and because we hit that tree stump, and we got over it, but it was a bloody massive, not tree stump, tree branches, you know. That slowed us down, but it looked back at us and it just changed direction and it was away. So yeah, we sent this monkey thing, and that's like a Bigfoot, the Bigfoot of Africa. So there you go, and that's my little Mandela tale. And believe me, there's much bigger animals in Africa than Bigfoot. But Bigfoot is the king. He's the king of the swingers. He's a really nice lad, believe me. He's got a friendly face. It's really friendly. You don't want to kill it when you see it. We didn't shoot it as well. We've seen its face, and we didn't want to shoot it. It's friendly. Big dark eyes, wide eyes, flat teeth. We surprised it. And it was just eating berries or something. We surprised it. Whang, it's off. just like any other animal that you surprise. Usually goes off. His head was big, like a conical on the top of it. Massive 4 foot wide shoulders, really wide. Over 6 foot tall, really long arms. Come really low down. Big hands. His hair on its hands, orangey. Orange long hair off its arms. Really good. It's just what you want in an animal. And we know there's so many Mandela effect or Mandela animals, as people say. They say that animals just like certain animals were just made by God from nothing. Well, this is like an animal, and it is an animal. It's friendly. It's really harmless. It's really harmless, and the message I'm putting across is, if you see how friendly its face was and how it's just eating berries, and it wasn't attacking us, it was so friendly, its face, like something from Star Wars. It was just so innocent, you didn't want to shoot it. You just didn't want to shoot it. It's like a friendly, big orangutan. Really nice. But walking on 2 legs. So that's today's Mandela tale. And next episode we're going to talk about other Mandela animals and other Mandela effects. There you go. We were so happy. And then my sister, she must have been, she was energy behind us, then she must have seen it, and then she's like screaming and laughing. We were laughing because we weren't scared, because when it runs, and it was coming, we knew it was coming out of the woods soon. And it had nowhere to go. So what we did, I ordered everyone, don't shoot. Let's follow this thing. So it's going. It's sidestepping away. Then it comes out the bushes, and we come out of the bushes, and it's just open land, like pretty flat land. It ain't gonna get away from us. So out the woods, it's come out the woods. We're looking for it. We see it. It's about 50. When we come out the woods, we're looking in different directions for it, and we see it about 50 meters from us. We see it running away. So I say to Henry, right, follow it. And we're all laughing because it's just like an orangutan, a big one. We're like, anyway, we put our car down. We're getting to 40 miles an hour. We're keeping up with this thing. We're putting it down. And we're just following this thing. We're just following it for miles. It's got nowhere to hide. And we're just laughing and just looking at it. And then... we must have followed it for like 2 miles. and then after 2 miles, because it can hear the car engines behind it. After 2 miles, it's jumped. It said, sack this, I've had enough of running away, because it's not getting away from us in jeeps. So after 2 miles, it must have said to itself, sack this, and it's done a massive jump. Monumental jump. Like Linford Christie or something. Some massive jump. Absolutely massive jump. Watching it from car. It's done a massive jump. we were too. I wasn't paying attention where we were, and even I was just laughing at this thing. I was so happy and excited to be seeing this thing. Like I knew it's a wonderful, nice, fluffy species of animal. It's like my best friend. So we weren't paying attention to where we were. It bloody leapt like 15 feet into the air. And I weren't paying attention where we were or what animals or things were around us. It's leapt into the mist of bloody lions. And I hate lions. So I slam on the brakes because I ain't going near lions. Because they got big, massive heads, these lions. And it's there in the middle of them. Landed in the middle of them. This kind of Hulk thing. And I'm like, we've parked up now. We're not going any further. We're not going any closer. I didn't even know there were lions there. I hate lions. I'm not laughing now because I don't like lions. There's a few lions there. Some trees. And the lions, they start acting like bloody house cats on the defensive, hissing. Absolutely disgusting to see these lions. It's the worst thing. And you know, when they hiss and scratch, they wrinkle up their noses, don't they, lions? And hiss like cats, house cats. And there's a bloody male alpha bloody lion there. This Bigfoot looks at us. We've parked our car up. Now it's like a wrestling match. It's like we've come to the bloody WrestleMania. Basically. Bloody Bigfoot versus, similar to WrestleMania, we've come to bloody Bigfoot versus bloody lion. There's this lion tries to attack it, and I think, oh no, he's got no chance. It grabs the bloody lion with its leathery big hands, grabs it round the bloody thing. It puts its weight on the lion, so the lion can't scratch it with its two front claws. Rests its weight of it. It grabs the bloody lion's mouth like King Kong, leans forward its body weight on the head of the lion in some kind of wrestling move, so the lion can't use its two front claws to scratch it, and then it bloody just put its hands in between the lion's mouth and just prise the lion's mouth apart. Bang! Bloody massive crack. Crack! Broke the lion's bloody jaw. Turns back. Looks at me. These other lionesses are snarling at it, trying to protect their cubs. Some two lionesses are bloody low down and crawling towards it, trying to stay hidden to attack it. I shout out to it to make it realise that it's going to get pounced by these lionesses that crouch down. Joe, the back muscles are going up and down because they're crouched down. They're trying to attack it. They're trying to do. Anyway, I shout at this Bigfoot, "Oi, watch out! Bloody lioness is gonna pounce on you." It understands me. It understood me. It understood me. It turned around, it ran, it grabbed a bloody lion club, cup and ran off.
Thanks for listening if you put up with that. Don't worry, we've got some better stories coming up about UFOs, and we're going to have a good story about the man who sees these ghosts in his house. Fascinating story. And we've got some more stories, plenty more stories on Africa, don't worry.